Welcome in. This is the first live trade show on the Dynasty Daddy YouTube channel. Before we get into all the fun trades, I do want to introduce Will. Will will be helping us out. He's helping out with the video editing. You've probably seen some improvements on that front, but he's also going to be helping out run some of these trade shows, keep me organized, and help out more in the Discord because I'm not always the most active, which is something I want to work on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
Will,
no,
give yourself a little intro.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing like a job interview or something, but no, I'm I'm pumped. I'm
No
just
pressure.
I'm a big Dynasty nerd. I mean, that's like the first thing I think I need to talk about is huge Dynasty degenerate. I mean, my days are just filled with listening to podcasts and shows and everything, and love Dynasty Daddy. Utilize it across all my leagues. I'm checking it constantly for trades and everything. Reached out to Jeremy. Love the channel and talk to him a little bit about what he wants everything to look like. And I think these Dynasty trade shows, welcome aboard. I appreciate it. We definitely going to get into some trades here. I don't want to spend too much time introducing myself. Like, I feel like you'll get to know me as we talk through Dynasty trades. So, I don't know, Jeremy, if you want to talk a little bit about what this show will look like and kind of the future for the channel.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the site is where my forte is. If I had a war chart for myself, it'd be like, okay, I'm adding the most value when I'm working on my site. But I do think there's a big need, and people want my opinion and to have some conversations around, trades. Everyone has trade questions. That's always the channels that are blowing up. So I think this is a great way to kind of engage more and answer a lot of those questions that I just can't get to because I get lost in a bunch of notifications. So I want to be able to engage more with everyone and, get involved. And Will just reached out to me and gave me his resume, gave me his pitch. And I was like, you know what, this is what I need. I need someone that wants to hit the ground running and you can really make an impact in that way. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And we, I mean, with all that aside, we can get right into it. I know we've got some trades already in the chat. I'll try to get you the link here. I know, so you can pull these.
Yeah,
up.
I was like, I get like the delay right now. So
let's see.
Welcome in.
I'll pull these up and we'll start talking. I'll read the first one while I'm getting you the link. Hey, first stream, guys. Working out the kinks a little bit.
Yes.
But let's see this first message we got here. Yo, what's up? Esco24. 14 by 12. Man, we're starting.
Wow.
We're starting out deep. I like it. And it's got the free agency. right here. DK Metcalf in the 110. Or Nico Collins in a 14 by 12. I feel like I need to readjust all my Dynasty experience. I'm in so many 12 by 9s, 12 by 10s. I'm not in any 14 by 12s.
I'm not either, but I will say it does give more value to the 110 because that once you get to that 13 or the that 11th or 12th spot, you just need any dude with a pulse. Anyone that can at least score not a 0. But in this phase or to me, I think Nico's super undervalued at the current price point. And for me to tear up to a Nico who was pre-injury, literally like wide receiver 1, people were saying he's better than CD Lamb and things like that. I'm going to probably take the Nico, but usually in a league like this, I like the tear down just because if I can split one elite guy into 2 pieces, it is somewhat roster dependent there, but it's hard to pass up on Nico, and I'm not the highest on Metcalf. Kind of getting to that, end of career or post prime stage. I don't think he has a ton of value insulation left in him.
Yeah, especially in these kind of deals, even in these deeper formats, I always think about. Yeah, I think you automatically lean towards the higher valued asset just because you think about if 3 weeks from now, if you regret this trade, what's easier to move? And I think even in this deeper league, like getting off a Nico to get a similar style package to a Metcalf and a 110, you're able to do. Because DK, I mean, if you just look at the past couple seasons, I feel like I know you, we've got a free agency video coming up that'll drop on the channel that the
later
Dynasty,
this week.
later this week that the Dynasty Daddy Club members have already gotten to see. But you talk about DK a little bit, and we just talk about that difference making production that I think people want to attribute to a DK. And I feel like it's kind of popular to hate on DK a little bit, but I think it's a little bit warranted just with his, the Dynasty value, even with the 5-year contract to the production he's actually giving you, where, if you had Wan'Dale Robinson versus DK last season, how many weeks did you actually notice?
Don't do that to him.
I hate to do it. And that's like
very
Wan'Dale
different
size
men. Wan'Dale did have like a little stretch where it's like all these like 4-yard catches, and you're like, well, I guess that's like a point in PPR. But No, I mean I agree. I mean I think Nico to me is someone that I remember last year it was like week 5. I was kicking myself. I was like I should have sent out every CD Lamb I had and tried to split them into like Nico in the first. Like, can I get someone? And to me, Metcalf is kind of post that value bump. It's not like you're betting on like a Roma Dunze or like a JSN who still has a lot of years left that can really get up into those top 5 wide receiver range. I'd rather just take the known asset, and if I want to split Nico, I can probably find someone that will split him for a Rome and someone else, and that will be more appealing to me.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, even in these deeper formats, like, yes, late first are valuable and can hit your lineup, but man, I think if you just think about the asset you're going to add to your lineup at the 110, even in a deeper league, what that's going to look like. But yeah, I think it's a really easy, even in these deep formats, to just side with the value of Nico with the pivot too. Shout out to Gainey here. Y'all, let me just go ahead and recommend the roster reviews that Jeremy does. Spot on and eerily on top of what happened with the draft. I love that. I know.
I do need to, maybe I need to, rewatch what I said about the draft, because I do feel like there's certain tiers that we're seeing, and I think especially once we get more information with the NFL draft, we'll have updated tiers with everything. But right now, it really is just running backs. If you need running backs, this is the time to invest in those picks and use those picks. Otherwise, I'm trying to move up and down that board.
All right, here we go. In a 12-team, 1 QB, no tight end premium. Okay, so we're one QB. I feel like I got to shift my brain. I want to say that a couple times before we get into it.
Yeah, one quarterback's rough.
Would you trade Mixon, Devonta, and Ingram for Brees and DJ Moore? I would be curious. I don't know if we know how many starters are in this one. 12-team, 1 QB.
Yeah, that would be. I do think if you're in a deeper league, in a tight end premium, right? Like I don't know if it's a PPR half tight end premium or it's a full tight end premium.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I see. No, I think I'm just going Brees and DJ. I'm a Brees supporter. I don't even think Brees is going to get back to what we thought he was going to be rookie season. But man, Mixon, Devonta, and Ingram. I don't know. Are you buying the Ingram hype? The Denver Broncos Joker.
I've always been a little bit of an Ingram homer. Okay. Just because to me, I've never been, unless if it's like crazy tight end premium, it's hard for me to be like, I'm going to pay up for that elite tight end or elite-ish tight end. Like there's very few that are locked in. It's like old Mark Andrews, not now, but a couple seasons ago, and you had like Travis Kelce. And I was like, I'm probably not going to take him in like the 4th round. So Ingram to me was always like my homer. I was like, he'll get like 100 targets and no one will talk about it. But with the hype, most likely this is a shallower league, and 1 QB league. Those tend to be a little bit more shallower. I'm going to want to just try to tier up honestly at both assets. Get the better running back that has more runway, and get the wide receiver 1 tied to that new Ben Johnson offense. He's kind of like the Scary Terry type of guy where it's like he'll never really have that big bump. But trust me, without DJ Moore, the Panthers are a lot sadder, and without DJ Moore, you'll also be a lot sadder.
Yeah, and I mean, Evan Ingram, man, and no tight end premium. just honestly, go to your waiver wire, pick up the highest projected tight end for the week, and give me Brees and DJ over paying for Ingram in that format.
I still wake up in cold sweats knowing that Jonnu was on my waiver wires for the first 6 weeks, and I was like, wait a minute, tight end 1 last year. You just need to you can find guys that replace Evan Ingram, especially now. And especially with that hamstring, who knows? I mean, that dude pulled his hamstring walking out week 1 and put up a nice 0 on some of my rosters.
Highly recommend all you DynastyDaddy.com up there. Utilize the war chart for your leagues, especially with no tight end premium, low tight end premium. Just look at that tight end line and really talk to yourself about, should I be paying for guys like Evan Ingram? That's all I say.
Yeah, you want to get value for those guys where you can. Unless if the tight end premium is crazy. I mean,
all right, let's see. We got Lewis. See here, what kind of running back, could I get by shipping a 25, so the 201, and Ladd McConkey? No real starting running backs, and I think I have to move draft capital to improve the RB position. Man, I'm really not trying to move Lad. I think I treat running backs. I think this is starting to become more popular for dynasty opinion, and I think you share the sentiment, Jeremy. Let me know if you disagree.
Okay.
I am mercenary, man. Give me the cheapest old dudes that I can get. Let me get Aaron Jones now that Jordan Mason is signed. Yeah,
I think almost every roster I can get Aaron Jones on, I'm going to get.
Because right here, I understand the desire. You look at your roster right now, and let's remind everyone that it is March 18th. We are not going to have players scoring points on our fantasy football rosters for a long time. So I know it's scary to look at that and look at your running back room. But, man, even leading up to the season, I just feel like, yes, Lad in the 201 probably could get you into, like, buying low on Brees or, some of these running backs that feel appealing to have on a dynasty roster. But, man, if you just think about what running backs do year over year, think about people who bought Joe Mixon when he signed with Houston, and people are like, oh, he's washed. Dameon Pierce going to eat into his workload. Who bought Aaron Jones when the Packers released him, and it was, I don't know if he's going to do anything. He's old and gets hurt all the time. Like, you can make up that production pretty close to what paying up. And the wide receiver is a lot harder. So when you move off of these guys, especially young guys like Ladd McConkey, I really don't want to do that. I would rather take that 201 and like trade down to the late second or the third and try to get an Aaron Jones, one of these older guys that are going to give you production for the next year or two.
That and that 201 by itself probably can get you into the door of some of those older running backs. I'm sure if you boot up the trade database and look through some of those trades, there is the 201 for Aaron Jones straight up. In that team, especially with the Jordan Mason signing in the limited draft capital they have, even in a loaded draft class, there's no way Aaron Jones is going to be usurped unless he gets injured. So I do think there's a lot of guys out there like an Aaron Jones. He's just a poster child, but James Conner, there's old guys out there that you can probably keep the Ladd McConkey, because I think Ladd McConkey as an asset is probably better used in a tier up if you want to move him than trying to tier down or kind of consolidate with a second for a running back. Unless if you're like getting into like the elite tier, if you're able to get Jahmyr Gibbs on the phone or something crazy, then I'm absolutely a part of it.
I'm assuming you're not able to get into the Bijan Gibbs with Ladd and the 201.
If it's like, oh, let me get, Saquon Barkley, I'm like, I know he was amazing, but like I also was the sucker that bought Christian McCaffrey after his career year and kept refreshing 49ers Twitter to see if his Achilles was actually a problem or not. So
yeah, I got to know before we move on, are you back in it all? Are you knocking on the doors of the CMC managers for just one more year of just get me a championship CMC if it's cheap enough? It's not going to be cheap enough, right? Like that's
the issue is like I've made my bed in the leagues that I bought Christian McCaffrey in, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it again and try to overpay for an old guy like that. But I'm also like, what's the point of me selling right now? Like let me at least, if I'm going to sell him, it's going to be like once he had some good practices or like had one good drive in the preseason and then people are starting to steam him up. If I have that window, that's when I'll look to sell him. But right now, I'm not too motivated unless someone's giving me an easy get out of jail free card, which no one's going to do that with a running back that has Achilles. Every other news story is like, how's his Achilles?
All right, I am going to pull up the trade and I'm going to make an executive decision. I want everyone to know that Jeremy sounds so much prettier than he currently is sounding. We're working through some mic stuff. He doesn't sound bad or anything. Jeremy, I want you to give me a Discord call. I'm going to mute you. I'm going to pull up this next trade. We're going to get you sounding pretty. Don't worry.
Oh, dang, the audio's going.
Well, it's not bad. It's just, it could be so much better. It's the first stream. I want it to be perfect, Okay. So give me the Discord call. I'll meet you up. I'll read this question while we're getting that set up. Moose, my boy. We got a 12-team Superflex PPR 0.5 tight end premium, start 11. Okay, and we got Jeremy back here. All right, so we've got Caleb, 26 second, and the 210, and we got a Diami Brown sighting. Let's go.
Does he count? Does he count?
He definitely counts.
I mean, he got 10 mil. He got 10 mil.
Maybe. We got start 11. I think in a start 11, you could say Diami Brown could count. He's definitely not 100% roster hogger, maybe 80%. But all right, let's reread this. We got Caleb, 26 second, 210, and Diami Brown. The main piece on the other side, we got Ayuk, Jordan Love, and a 26 first. Ooh. Where are you at on Brandon Ayuk?
I mean, to me, I think Ayuk. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about Dynami Brown or whatever, but 2 seconds for Ayuk is near fair. And if I can split Caleb for Love in the first, I'm going to take that any day.
Yeah.
I think, especially in a start 11, even though technically, like you are giving up 2 seconds, I would much rather just have the first, future flexibility. I have insurance. If Ayuk doesn't come back next year, I still have a first. I can buy someone. I can have the insurance. If Caleb Williams doesn't become the greatest quarterback we've ever seen, it's okay. I got Jordan Love, who's also young, also put up, I think last year he was at QB1. And this year was a little bit disappointing, but still, he's someone that's going to be around QB1-ish range for a long time. So I'm not too concerned.
I love this move. I think this is what you do. Like, we talk about offseason hype pieces, and I like Caleb Williams right here, Lions fan. I am excited. Okay, I'm not excited. I am excited for people who are excited about the Bears from a fantasy perspective. All the people who've held on to DJ Moore bags and are feeling good about the Rome Odunze and everything. But for me, this is what you want to do in the offseason with these kind of hyped up quarterbacks. And I'm not even saying Caleb is not going to perform well. Like, I think we saw some rushing last season. I think he could kind of crack into the back end of those like top high end quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. But anytime I can take a guy who I'm not super confident is going to be able to break into that stratosphere and tear off to another quarterback I feel good about, who I know was a little bit disappointing last season, but I could see the Packers offense shifting, not necessarily like way more towards the pass, but a lot more than last season. I mean, last season was extremely run heavy. How long is Josh Jacobs going to be there? Maybe they add a receiver in the draft. And worst case scenario, you're getting a 26 first. And like Brandon Ayuk, I mean, you could talk me into Jordan Love and a first for Caleb a second and Dynasty Brown. I don't think that's even a terrible trade on its own right. So, I mean, you could say Brandon Ayuk for a single second. You could break it down that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in general, give me the flexibility of the pick and the quarterback. Love could totally outperform Caleb. And 2, not to put my tinfoil hat on, I'm not the biggest Love truther, but he did get banged up early in the year. They started going away from the pass. I was not in, their film study. I don't know if that's something deliberate they made or they just don't trust Love.
I mean, we saw
but there's
last season.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the reality is that offense, and we know that offense was going after DK Metcalf as well. So they are trying to invest in the pass. I'm not too concerned. Give me the Love in the first side. I can figure that out.
Man, they got me talking good about a Bear quarterback and a Packers quarterback. That's messed up.
I know. First show.
This is a mistake. What's up, Wolfhouse? I can't super chat. What am I supposed to do with my money? I will DM you my PayPal. I think
we got to feed chat. Will.
I think there's going to be stuff like in the future. I mean these first streams, we're growing the channel and everything, and definitely join the Discord. I think if you're talking about support, like obviously, like everyone loves money.
Well, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, definitely join the Discord, link in the description. I mean, there's just people talking Dynasty leagues, creating and joining leagues, Dynasty Daddy development stuff. Definitely check that out.
Yeah, I try to post all my updates there because I know if you're in the Discord, you probably are not going to get annoyed by me as easily because you support the site in some way. But yes, I mean, with super chats, things like that, we gotta hit certain numbers for Google to say that we're not like a spam AI channel or something like that. So we are trying to get there, and then of course we'll support those and give those priority during our streams.
All right, we got DN here, 12-team Superflex PPR. Don't know how many starters, but it's a pretty straight up trade. Brees in the 3-12 or Kenneth Walker and Kyle Pitts.
Brees in the 3-12, Kenneth Walker, Kyle Pitts.
I mean, I am kind of in the camp of Kyle Pitts is not Kyle Pitts. I think we're done believing that he is going to be a difference maker. I don't think he's total trash. I think he's probably just going to end up in the tight end purgatory of players who are on the field and can catch passes from their quarterback at times at the tight end position. But I think this has a lot to do with how you feel about Kenneth Walker. I am Brees believer, so we got a little bias here. You need to put a Jets jersey on at this point. I know. Okay, so talk to me about Brees versus Kenneth Walker. So what if this was just Brees and like a third for Kenneth Walker? Like, are you Brees and Kenneth Walker for a third? Sorry.
I mean, I'll be honest.
We're in a third.
I'm on the Brees side as well here. I think from my perspective, Kyle Pitts is the same as like an Evan Ingram at this point. You know, I'm like, okay, he might catch passes, he might not. He's just young, and people just can't give up that he's like only 25, but has hurt them for the past 5 years. For me, Brees Young, Brees Hall.
Bryce Young. You see the Panthers
Bryce Young.
football in the
I know. I got too much in my head right now. But also, I would say in a 0.5 tight end premium in a full PPR league, we're also not looking at impactful like mid tight ends. It's still going to be, you're still going to want to flex your wide receivers, your running backs. We're not looking at a big enough tight end premium for me to say Kyle Pitts is really worth much. I'd much rather take a third, pick a running back, pick a random tight end in this year's draft, or try to, throw it together with Dwayne Brown or whoever and pick up some random tight end somewhere. So for me, definitely give me the better asset in this trade, which would be Brees Hall.
All right, we got a ton of chat. Keep the chats coming, guys. I promise.
I know the chats are good.
We're gonna pick up the pace. We're gonna get to these. I want to hit them. I don't want to hit the end. The tail end of the stream where it's like, I've got to get out of here. We are gonna hit these. Let's go. Keep them coming.
We can always do a lightning round.
That's true. I'll get the music going. Early 26 first round pick. Early, man. Calling that right now. Early. That's early.
That team has to be bad.
Oh yeah. And the 25-201 for Rashi Rice. Which side are you taking? Oh man, I think you just gotta go. I mean, dude, if you're confident that's an early 26 first.
I was about to say, in a void, no context, give me the 2 picks.
What pick?
Give me the early first.
Now, if I told you right now, I know exactly where that pick is going to be. At what point are you taking the right side? I know it's so nebulous.
That's a good question.
We don't even know exactly what the class is going to look like. Only one of those players is Jeremiah Smith. It's just...
That's a 26. So it'd be like an Arch Manning, potentially.
Well, still.
But still, I think to me, I just want the flexibility. Like,
if it's a top
Rice
6.
is probably suspended for 4 or 5 games or something. I mean, I think it would have to be like the 108, like the 107 or the 108, or it's something where I'm like, oh, this is a contender's 26, and then I'd be like, maybe I'll take Rice, depending on how bad, like if my league is so dry. Because I've been in some leagues where like no one will trade a wide receiver, and I'm over here like being like, I guess I have to ride Jaden Reed into the playoffs because no one will give me Adam Thielen or anyone with a pulse. Yeah. So it depends on your league, but I think 2 firsts or 2 picks, both being early, I'm going to take.
I like Rashi Rice, but I believe in him. I'm willing to buy him, like for teams that are wanting to move off him for sure. But let's just not forget, this is a guy coming off a major injury with a rookie receiver, Xavier Worthy, who had a pretty good tail end of the season. I'm not going to act like can't come back and be productive. I'm not even going to say anything about Travis Kelce. I don't even think you need to mention him in the conversation to talk about why this is a good deal.
No, I agree. I mean, it's you just have so many outs. I mean, if you hit even on the 201, which could totally be a good pick. It could be some running back or Jackson Dart or someone like that, and then if you just hit on that pick, that you already win, and you're banking an early first. So
real quick, it's gonna be the quickest one. Eskimo24. Extra context for the first chat message we got for the night. I'll pull it up.
Oh,
so this team won the ship last year.
Bring it back.
Depth. Appreciate the insight. So this was the Metcalf and the 110 for Nico. We were already kind of on the Nico side. You won the chip. You've got decent depth. Get off that Metcalf.
Oh yeah,
Nico. 100%. Love that.
Yeah, it's a long-term piece. It can be a centerpiece for your roster.
We got another Brees believer in chat. We are forming a union. Brees believers rise up. Justin Fields is not great for him, but he is just making him easier to buy. That's my copium take right there.
I feel like it's more like a Garrett Wilson thing.
Yeah, well, I think Garrett Wilson is there's just no, I mean, I don't know, people could do the buddy Ohio State thing, but I don't know. They could do the DJ Moore had a decent season because of that one Washington Commanders primetime game where he had like 3 touchdowns and 200 yards.
I mean, DJ Moore's a good comp, I feel like, because I remember as a Panthers fan, DJ Moore came in, everyone's like, okay, this is the year that he's going to really become like a top 6 guy that everyone loves. And it's like, nope, he's like 1,000 yards, which is good. I couldn't do it. But he never was like, oh man, like DJ Moore, Jamar Chase. Like there's always a tier break there.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got a 10-point. This is another 10-team, 1 QB, no tight end premium. So just a 10-team, 1 QB.
Mm-hmm.
Pop Douglas. He's giving up Pop Douglas in the 107.
Pop Douglas 107
and the 307 for the 102. Oh, that's just easy 102. No questions asked, right?
It's taking candy from a baby right there.
Yeah, come on. You give him a third. You're
that's you accept the trade, and then you do a handshake emoji, in the chat, and then you DM him the link to Dynasty Daddy and be like, study up, kid.
Yeah, send him this clip. Actually, no, do one more trade for whatever future first round picks he has, and then send him this clip.
Yeah, but once you fleece him, then you have to send him Dynasty Daddy to be like, okay, study up. That way, no one else fleeces you, and then you don't ruin my league.
Mm-hmm. DK was Dougie Doo-Doo for the Seahawks. Here's the thing with DK. I'm gonna do a quick DK tangent because I don't want to like totally bury him. But can we just talk? What is the best case scenario for DK right now? Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers.
Well, I was about to say, who's the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean George Pickens sounds like he's staying there with DK.
You can bring Mason Rudolph back.
Yeah, I don't see a world. I mean the Steelers are probably taking a running back too. Like I just don't see a world where they're this. I mean, you would need Big Ben from 5 seasons ago to come back for me to consider taking DK on a lot of these trades. And I like DK.
Yeah, the volume's just not going to be there.
Leagues. Please send me offers.
And you also have Pickens, which is like when I was looking at all the route trees and stuff, I'm like, these are like basically the same guys. Like I'm like, you just got 2 tall guys that run. You're not going to have anything inside the numbers really. So to me, I don't really know. I mean, I could see them being potentially out on Pickens, which could be an interesting wrinkle. But again, like wide receivers are so hard to get.
Yeah. Another context here. Appreciate you guys adding this one. So Aaron, this was the start 9. This was the Mixon, Devonta, and Ingram for Brees and DJ. I think that's even more so on the Brees and DJ side for a more shallow league.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
ED fam in the house. Yes, sir.
We got to represent. I've seen Sean L in the Discord before. So appreciate it. Let's see.
All right, here we go. This is a question for you. What are you paying for Aaron Jones? I feel like
Aaron Jones.
I think this is okay. This is a great time to buy Aaron Jones, but I don't want to like sit here and pretend like we are expecting Aaron Jones to just be this like 15 to 18 point per game monster next season and not potentially miss 3 to 6 games. Like I'm not going to pretend like that is the world we live in. But I just think as far as these older running backs, you talk about they always were going to add somebody. Like they weren't just going to have Aaron Jones, and they didn't even trust Ty Turner last year. They didn't have Cam Akers on the roster who played for them a decent amount last season. They were always going to have an early ground grinder. I think it's good. I'm not going to say it's great that it's a good running back. I like Jordan Mason, but I mean, Jordan Mason's definitely more of an early ground grinder. We did not see him as involved in the passing game as a Garendo and other of the San Francisco running backs last season. So I think that helps Aaron Jones' role overall. So I think he's the kind of guy that is already depressed because he's old. Yes, he just got the contract extension, but people can kind of talk themselves into being a fake contract extension. He's going to have the role. Like we know what the roles are going to be for Minnesota for the next season. With all that being said, what are you paying? What's the earliest pick you would pay for an Aaron Jones on a team where you were like, I need an old crusty running back?
Well, I will preface my answer by saying I do think the Jordan Mason signing is amazing for people. Like I think in a way the door has shut on getting a steal for Aaron Jones because not only did they re-sign him to a 2-year deal, but they paid money to sign another running back. So you know they're not going to use one of their picks in this loaded class. Yeah. Even if it was like a 3rd or 5th or something like that, like they could hit some random guy that's like Bucky Irving and then comes out and everyone's like, oh my God, like, this is the best running back ever. We know what Jordan Mason is. Yeah, I think they have 4 picks, and I think one is, they have a 1st, and then they have like a 3rd, and then the rest are like day 3
And they
picks.
traded back with San Fran in that Mason deal.
Yeah, so it's, to me, I see Mason as like insurance of like they're not going to really replace him. Mason wasn't super efficient, especially later on in the year. He had a decent start, but he's nothing that I'm like, oh my gosh, like Aaron Jones should definitely be the guy to take it over. I mean, for me, I feel pretty confident. This is hard for me. If I'm in a win now team, I'm more inclined to send like a late first potentially, maybe pick up like a 3rd back or something. Man, I don't know. I think you could get some additional value.
Oh, man,
but in general, I do feel like if you have like an early second with a non like loaded team, like I'd much rather just take the shot on the young running backs in this class than invest in Aaron Jones.
Right. And let's just say, like, I mean, if you're talking, I think you're speaking more to the max you would pay. I mean, with the late first, you're definitely knocking on the doors of the Saquons. What tiny piece can you add to a late first?
I mean, like literally like the
sure.
112. I mean, like the 112. I'm not saying like a 108. Like,
or just like
and I do think if I move a first anywhere, like if I'm tearing down off of a first, I need some kickback. Like I'm looking for, even if it's a 27 second or a random other, like it wouldn't just be straight up. But I do think, and I think now, like I wouldn't really try to buy him as much now. Like I think the time to buy him was like a couple months ago, because it's like even if he doesn't even if he doesn't re-sign, he was good enough to land somewhere to have some sort of role. Those are the guys I want to target. Where it's like, okay, are they going to be somewhere or are they not?
Mm-hmm. Are you what's your real quick? We'll pull up. We got a bedtime. All right. Good night, Alex. Appreciate it. Everybody, let
good night. Thanks for tuning in.
But no, yeah. I know we got some conversations here about the running backs. Do you think? I know we make the jokes about trying to set your roster in March, but man, with the rookie hype season, and how scary this running back class is, we talk about volatility in Dynasty. Do you think it's kind of a sneaky good time to buy some of these veterans that you think are for sure locked into at least this next season, which is all you care about anyways, right? Even if some of these teams, like a Saints, or we talk about the Vikings, probably not, but like the Saints specifically, like the Saints could add a running back to the room in the draft, and you wouldn't drastically downgrade your expectations for Kamara next season. Like he's going to be a somewhat inefficient running back who's just going to get a ton of involvement in the offense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think two of the best buys right now is like someone like a James Conner and like a Chuba. Because there's no way in hell the Carolina Panthers they just re-signed Chuba. They just spent a second round pick on Brooks and they signed Rico. There's no way in hell Chuba isn't the guy they're just going to ride because
he's really great.
Trust me,
signing too. Rico's
not bad either.
He's not bad, but I think people tend to overvaluate like production that they see in like spurts, right? So if we're talking about like Ty Chandler at the end of the season for the Vikings, right? He stepped into that role. He got like 15 to 20 opportunities per game, put up a couple touchdowns, and people were sending out, late seconds for him. Like, maybe he's going to be in a 50-50 split with Aaron Jones. Like, I think people tend to overvaluate that. So I think it's a good time to knock on the doors of some of these running backs that people might see as, oh man, I don't know how I feel about Chuba, like Jonathan Brooks in 2 seasons, and when he comes back, and Rico Dowdle this year might take over the backfield. Yeah, so I think some of these guys just knocking and seeing what you can get for dirt cheap. We're not saying send out your early seconds, like every 201 and late first you have for these guys, but definitely knock on the doors for sure.
Well, yeah, and it's also like I see like there's a message in here about 201 being kind of like Tracy Kamara range. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great pick, especially if you look at your roster and you're like, okay, I have like a stud running back, I have like a experimental guy that might pan out. I just need to have a guy at the end of my bench that I can lock into 10 to 20 points a week and not have to ever think about Aaron Jones being, laying a goose egg or something like that. I don't have to worry about Chuba not getting 20 touches a game, something like that. That's the perfect type of team where I would be looking to move and just buy that production because I don't really need to hit this crazy upside of the 201. I mean, I forgot who did it, but I remember listening and someone was talking about how, like second round picks are like a 40% hit rate or something like that. And it's like, if I have a team that's locked and loaded, why take the risk? Give me the guy that gives me points. I don't need to worry about that. And especially too, we see with injuries, people get injured all the time. Just having extra cheap production on your roster is going to pan out. And this is a great time to buy it. And I think too, with all the uncertainty pre-draft, it's a great time to go out and just buy cheap vets when you can. And one other little nugget, once the season starts, one of my favorite trades is going like the guys I don't believe in per se, because I think there's that big tier of running backs. It's probably like 20 of them where I'm like, okay, if they have the opportunity, they're going to produce. And like week 4, you could have probably traded Mason Graham or Jordan Mason in the third for, like a James Conner in a second, or like there's people that want to just get younger constantly, and you can flip a Stevenson for one of these old guys mid-season just because they had 2 good weeks. Like you said, kind of chasing that production. Don't get focused on those names, but just, the process of this guy had a couple good weeks. Can I upgrade a third to a second. And now I have this extra second that opens up some windows.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All right, we got Kyle here, 12 team Superflex 0.5 PPR, looking to trade for the 101. Aren't we all? Got the 102, the 105, and the 108. 6 seconds. Is it worth to push it all in for Genty at the 101? I'd be curious to know how many starters are in this league. So if you got that, Kyle, definitely let us know. Because I think it's kind of like pushing in all like these flexibility, and especially when you got these early picks like the 102, 105, and 108, those are way more valuable if we're talking like a deeper league. But I definitely don't.
I'm curious too, like the roster size, because like if you're taking 6 second-round picks, like I hope you can roster all of those, and if you can't, like I'm looking to consolidate, whether it's just sending a bunch of seconds for a future first, or 2 seconds for a wide receiver. Yeah, but I will say right here, and I don't want to, obviously draft hasn't happened yet, but I've watched a lot of ACC football, and Amarion Hampton is an absolute beast, and I am not paying any premium to move up to GT if I have the 102. Right? To me, I'm like that. I'm not touching that pick. For me, they're probably the same players. He's basically the same player, because I don't care if GT's slightly better. He's going to score probably within the same point as each other, unless if something crazy happens. So to me, I already see I have at the 102 a locked in top rookie running back. Now, if I could do 105 and something else, and I mean, obviously I'd like to have GT, but I'm not moving that 102. I mean, that's something like last year. I remember everyone was talking about Marv. No one was talking about Neighbors to the same extreme. In every league, I had one of those top 1 or 2. I would just move back. I was like, can I just move back? Because to me, I'm like, what has to happen for Neighbors to be seen better than Marv, or Jaden Daniels to be seen better than Caleb Williams? Let me just move back.
Draft, the Giants landing spot and everything, even though he got the top 6 draft capital for sure. I don't hate it, man. So, I like Hampton a lot. I think both of them easily could get first round capital walk into workhorse. And there's some good spots. I know Hampton people are kind of projecting more late in the first, but man, you can talk about, you get that Denver Broncos landing spot. There's a couple really nice.
Yeah, I think Broncos, Steelers are one that I see too.
Yeah. Steelers. Broncos,
I mean, honestly, it's a first round running back. Like I don't care. Like I don't really care. It's like we have most of the time a first round running back is a lock. It doesn't matter. I don't need to overthink it. Like just take what you have. Now, if you can get the 101. Given your other picks, I'd totally be open for it, but I would not be moving that 102 for anything.
Okay, you ready for this? I have this pulled up and ready because I was working on the video editing. Spoiler alert for the next video that we're working on. But first year, so we're talking about rookie running backs since 2019, and some of these names are going to make you a little squeamish, but I want you to think about the first year value you had in these guys. And you can also put them again with the prospects, because I think Hampton's a better prospect than a lot of these guys. You got Josh Jacobs, 2019, 24th overall. CEH counts 32nd overall, but think about the rookie season. Kansas City. His
rookie year, especially week 1, where I think he had like 3 touchdowns. I mean, people still remember that. People are like, "Oh, that first game." I remember, I was just getting into Dynasty, and I remember, like one of my friends just took him like first overall, I think, and everyone was like freaking out. And it's like after the first game, I was like, man, he's doing victory laps right now. But here it is now.
Right. You got 2021 Najee Harris, Travis Etienne. A little bit weird with the injury, but still Etienne's first season, if you remember, when he was playing and kind of had taken over for the James Robinson situation with the value that he was at. Breece Hall,
Najee.
Yeah, Breece Hall was early second, but still, you think about the rookie season.
Breece stand over here.
Even after, okay. Well,
early second, basically first.
Yes, 2023, obviously Bijan and Gibbs. So, I mean, very few value misses in the first season as far as like what you could do with the asset. And I think Hampton, you could argue, is a better prospect than a lot of those guys. Other than, I would still give it to Bijan and Gibbs. Different prospects.
Yeah, and like Barkley earlier than that.
Further back for sure. All right, we're gonna.
But I mean, I think there's a lot of, and even Najee had that first year where he had like 100 targets or something crazy. So it's just almost a can't miss bet.
All right, we got 1 QB, 12 team start 9. Would you trade Henry in the 204 for the 107 and James Conner, but still have Saquon Mixon, CMC at running back? Oh yeah, I mean, I'm getting off of one of those running backs to move up. It is a 1 QB, which makes it a
1
little
QB.
bit. I have to kind of shift my mindset of what the 7 is going to look like.
I'm going to say no, man.
You got Saquon, Mixon, CMC.
Like, this is a 12-team start 9.
Yeah.
It's pretty shallow. And I'm rolling out.
That's fair.
Henry, Saquon, Mixon, who are top 5 running backs last year in WAR. And then you add in CMC, who didn't really play. But I also now have the insurance policy of if one of these guys goes down, I still have 3 top 5 running backs next year. Now,
So
if my
would
team
move
isn't
off,
isn't
you
locked
would
in,
move back from the 107 to the 204 to. You would rather have the. So you're
in a
saying
1 QB,
yeah.
in a 1 QB, I don't really care. Like how would the draft go? It'd be you have Gene T, Hampton, and then
2
probably
running backs.
all Henderson,
You get 3
Judkins,
first-round receivers.
Johnson.
It's probably not a ton
Like,
of premium.
Yeah, you're looking probably at like
Okay.
Caleb Johnson or like Travis Hunter.
What if it was a
and
26 first instead of the 107?
I'm more interested in that just because it gives me a Band-Aid. It gives me a Band-Aid. Like, I feel pretty confident midseason I can go to a team that has a Henry or a Henry-like player and be like, I need a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
On my team, here's a first.
Yeah.
If I have to take the 107, I'm not as excited, especially in a one QB league.
Yeah, I'm so quick. It is kind of interesting, the 1 QB. I have to kind of shift my mindset, and it is shallow in the start.
You do.
And just because too, these deals, like, this is a gift, right? If this was super flex and I mean, even still a start 9, I think you could argue it's a gift to have this running back room and have somebody say, here, I will take one of your old running backs and I will let you get like a 107. Like, that is such a gift, like, with that running back
And you toss in one of our old crusties that you like. They got Old Faithful James Conner, who's a solid flex.
I wasn't even gonna get on my James Conner soapbox because I know we got to keep it keep it moving. I like some of these messages, but I'm gonna focus and move on here. We got Sean. Shout out to Sean.
Sean
Dynasty
L.
Daddy fam, rise up. 12 by 10 Superflex PPR. Okay, 0.15 PPC and a 0.510 in premium.
Okay,
so we've got Drake May, Michael Penix, the QB room, some backups. Running backs, we got Bijan, NERB, like that. Wide receivers, you got CD, Lad, T. This is how I build my dynasty roster here. We got that Marvin Harrison. Tight end, just Jatavian Sanders. Picks, got that 102, 104. Man, this is why you got that just the Bijan, the running back room, hitting it in this draft, I think, for sure. All right, so here's the trade. Penix and CD and the 202 for Joe Burrow. And that's Terry McLaurin there, the F1.
Okay. I was like, I do not know what F1 is.
I think the F1 is because he doesn't like the Scary Terry nickname. I think is kind of where that
you just got to write it out. It's like Kevin Durant with like Slim Reaper. I'm like, you just got to own it.
All right, are you trading? I don't think I'm getting off of CD. I don't think I want to.
Given my quarterback room, Burrow. I don't know. I'm kind of with you here. I feel like I would just rather have CD in early second and Penix. I'm not the biggest Penix or even May fan. I don't think either of those offenses are going to be super high caliber.
That's fair.
But I also Burrow to me kind of gives me like running back vibes of like he has that one good season being healthy and everyone's like, oh my god, he's amazing. But
I know I hear you, but it is hard seeing that massive extension and hearing them talk about how are they going to re-sign Hendricks and everything. It's kind of gearing up, and I do not trust the Bengals front office in any capacity. I don't know if anybody does.
No.
It is kind of gearing up to be could easily be a rerun of what we saw last season. Now, I don't know if they want to play that way, but I think re-signing T kind of makes you feel a little bit better about it. But even with that being said, it is just so hard for me to move off of CD. And I like I don't love Penix, but man, I mean, rookie season, I mean, for what he showed in the rookie year, it was better than I was expecting. I mean, he made some throws, man.
I would be looking to try to trade anyone else but CD. Like I would like to add Burrow to this roster, and I do think if you use like a Penix,
would you do
toss in a 108?
Marv in the 108?
Yeah, like a Marv. Like tossed in something like that, I'd be way more inclined because I do think Marv is his name. Like Marv is his name. He was fine, but I'm scared that if Marv just doesn't come out and absolutely go like neighbors mode on everyone's gonna be out. Everyone's gonna be like, nope, He's like Jerry Jeudy 2.0. I'm not going to touch him. So for me, CD's just so insulated. Like CD could get shot, and people are like, it's still CD Lamb. He's fine. Like CD Lamb has so much insulation to him that I'm not too concerned.
Yeah. I was gonna,
but like a
the
Marvin
difference
Harrison
making
Jr.
production, but yeah, I guess you could also get shot, and we could do the value thing for sure.
I got to make sure you're still awake in there. I do think you have the assets to make it work. And if it's honestly hung up on CD, I'd look for other quarterbacks in that range. I think like a Jalen Hurts is someone that's kind of underrated by, fantasy markets. But he has that locked in rushing upside, elite offensive line. Like there's a lot going for him that I think you could probably get a conversation going with like a Marv in the 108 or even like the 104. I wouldn't move the 102 given that you literally probably have like Ty Chandler as your RB2 right now, but you have enough picks. I would definitely be looking to tier up at the quarterback position.
All right, I'm going to make you answer this one. Shout out to Adam. We've got a 12-team Superflex start 10. Bryce Young or Jordan Addison. Now, I know you probably want the context of the team, but just in a vacuum, you assume either side.
Give me Jordan Addison.
Okay. All right. There we go.
I like Bryce Young. I have to say it because this is a signed football I got as a wedding gift. So the second I got it, it was his rookie year, and I was like, it has to pan out now. Like I'm like, now it's cursed. Like it was right after the trade. I was like, you've cursed me. But personally for me, Jordan Addison to me is just like he was severely underrated last offseason. This year, I think he's still probably a tiny bit overrated, but I feel like he's a perfect wide receiver 2. I can lock him in and not have to worry about like dealing with like a Jaden Reed type wide receiver 2s. So for me, in 2, I don't think Bryce Young doesn't have the rushing upside that a ton of elite quarterbacks have, and in that Panthers offense, I'm not super high on outside of like Chuba.
Yeah, I think we tend to talk about the Vikings passing offense from the quarterback position and what it does for Sam Darnold and what we saw Josh Dobbs do. But I think we just got to give credit to those weapons. I mean, obviously you talk about JJ, but I'm in on TJ Hawkinson and Jordan Addison. I mean, hard to believe. I
mean, Addison's also like one-on-one. Yeah, like he's got so much. There's so much in that offense. It's like Jordan Addison's just running by himself.
All right, here we go. This one, I saw the Jeremy name drop in here, so we got to hear.
Oh, boy.
And Gainey here, 12-team Superflex, start 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. Okay. So this is a start 11 here, and with no flexes, it sounds like. Just the flex or the quarterback in the Superflex.
Ooh, locked in positions.
I had Kyron, Brees, and Najee. Talked it through with Jeremy. Recommended getting out of the Kyron business to get some pieces. Tiered up from Tua to Baker Mayfield plus. Okay.
Is that something that he already did, or?
Sounds like
it's already completed, right?
Sounds like the deal is done. I'd be curious to know what the plus looks like.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just like a second, I'm taking that.
Yeah.
Like I think Kyron his ship has sailed. I feel like now this might be a clip, but his ship has sailed in that I don't think his value is going up from where it's at. Right? Like I think his value peaked last year.
I think Corum
this year
got name dropped. I don't want to start anything.
Oh boy.
I think Corum got name dropped as like, but I think also in the same clip Tyler Higbee got name dropped as it was like, what was it like? It wasn't beasts. It was like. It was something. I'm totally misquoting something that I don't even fully believe in, so I'm gonna move on from this question before the stream.
Well, you know, Kyron's returning punts now, so you got to get out on them.
True. All right, here we go. We've got Nick, Take Jake. I have Brees, A-Chain, Monty, Chuba, and Tracy. Full PPR. Looking to move 1 or more for wide receiver. 2 mid, thirds, and 2 fourths. This draft to work with.
Okay. I have Brees, A-Chain, Monty. Oh, I'm moving Tracy. Tracy's one of my biggest sells at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you talk about what you could get for all these guys, it's probably at this point, it's still probably is it A-Chain over Brees at this point? Am I?
Yeah,
I'm
definitely not. It's A-Chain. It's definitely A-Chain, Brees, but they're close. Same tier. Maybe there's a little difference.
Thank you.
But I mean, I think right now Tracy's got more hype on him than Monty and Chuba. I'd probably take Monty and Chuba over Tracy.
With this, yeah, I mean, I would definitely knock on some doors for Tracy, but I feel like leading into the draft, people are definitely ears are perking for Tyrone Tracy just because of all the hype this running back class is getting. I think it's hard to believe that Monty or Chuba after the Rico signing are heavily impacted. Would you? I mean, we don't know the context. If you really, 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 you were looking at your team and you're like, I really need to shift up this running back room to make a splash at wide receiver, what kind of move would you try to do with a Brees or an A-Chain? Because those are going to be the ones that people are willing to move for wide receivers.
I feel like you get locked out of the elite guys, though.
Yeah,
I feel like you get locked out.
It's hard to move up with those running backs.
I would say if I can take like a Brees and like get into a Nico
you can get into
Collins conversation.
Somebody in the chat, can you get into Puka now after the Devontae signing, or are people not buying?
No,
Okay.
you can't touch Puka.
Okay.
Puka's gold, man.
I sent an offer and I haven't heard back, but I think the guy just doesn't check his rosters in the offseason. So
yeah, I love that when I message someone and it's just like no response. I mean, that's also me a lot of times, but I need sleepers chat message like thing. I feel like I have a million notifications. It's like LinkedIn notifications where it's like you have 20 of them and then you look at it and it's like half of them are nothing. Like it's like someone checked out your profile. And I was like, oh. But back to the trade. I do think if you could get to like a Nico Collins type out of a Brees, I would look in that range. Like him and AJ Brown are probably the most viable older guy, or not older guys, but elite guys.
Would have to go more towards an AJ. I've seen a lot of AJ Brown trades. I feel like after last season and kind of how low that passing volume was, people are starting to they're trying to get ahead of the Tyreek Hill, like 2 seasons from now I'm gonna want to get out of this guy kind of deal. So I think you can.
I will say if you can take like a Tracy in some picks or something and try to get like Devontae Adams or something like that. Get one of those older guys. Like Devontae Adams is super cheap. It's probably going to be a wide receiver 1.
Yeah. I love that. All right. We got what's up, Larry? Dynasty 12 team super. So it's 12 by 10 rebuilder. Cure QBs are Air 5, JD 5, Gino and Flacco.
Lots of 5s.
All right, we got 2 trades here. Trade 1, JD 5 for the 101 May and the 410. I'm doing that. I know you're not a May guy. Am I too May coded? You get
no.
May
I'm
and
doing
Genty?
that. I'm doing that. Let me just double check. Yeah, it's Tart 10. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to take both that.
Of these in a 12 by 10. Would you do the 201 and the 203 for JJ McCarthy? Are you a little spooked at all about the Vikings? I think JJ is starting next season, unless there's something. I think it's got to be something weird with the injury for him not start.
I'm a little spooked, but I'm a little spooked.
Yeah, this is a good question. Okay, we got.
I think with the May trade, like I would just do the first one and keep my seconds and just figure something else with that.
Ooh, A-Chain, Genty. I mean, he's got A-Chain,
yeah,
Bigsby, Jalen Wright, and Corum currently. I mean, that 101 that's not just a value piece. That thing is hidden. I love this. Yeah. Also PPR. I don't think that changes it much for me. I think I like that. I like Jaden Daniels too. And I don't even think that Drake May is gonna become Josh Allen Jr. or anything. But man, you just talk about production. I mean, think about if you were doing that for. I mean, people. I don't know how you feel. I mean, people think about if that was Bijan, Bijan or Gibbs. You were getting Drake May and Gibbs for Jaden.
I mean, Daniels. You're splitting one elite asset for 2, like almost elite assets.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's kind of what you want. Like at the end of the day, like if you are going to move off of a JD5, that's what you need to do. I do think too, if like your roster is loaded, it's like, nah, just ride out with the true top 3 locked in quarterback. But if you have any sort of guy that you need, like,
all right, but we got to talk through it. This is the best part about these Dynasty trade shows, man. It is just, we're all about like, you don't want to get too player takey. You want to talk through the process. And this is why we're here, right? This is why we're in the Discord. This is why we ask questions to each other, because we are all honestly probably a little bit too obsessive about this stuff, but it's the greatest game alive, so we'll talk through it. To be honest, I don't like either of those trades. Keep JD5, and with those seconds, get some RBs and or Milrow. Okay, I don't hate that. Get some RBs with the seconds. If we just take a look, and he has the 201 and the 203, so you could definitely hit some production alongside having A-Chan, and you have the difference maker at quarterback. So I don't hate that. But man, I know you talked about how you like Hampton. I don't think that had anything to do with not loving Genty. Right.
No, absolutely. I think they're basically the same tier as I would put it. Like if I have the 101 and I can pick up something to go to the 102, I'm doing that. That just because I don't think the preseason hype and like I do believe in Gene T as a prospect, but I also think Hampton's, especially if he gets that first round draft capital, I have no hesitation. Just moving back, pick up extra value. That's how the game rolls.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the only reason I would ever make this like a trade like this is if I do need to split that elite asset. And if I'm getting a May and a 101, I feel like that's good. And with trade 2, I agree. I think with the 201 and the 203, I'd kind of rather take some shots there. I have a Geno.
JJ trade and do that with those.
Yeah, like I have a Geno. I have a AR5. That should be fine for my QB2. I mean, once you get to that QB2 range, like you're not getting super elite scoring anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to make a trade where you're like, I want GT so bad, like I assume your running backs are pretty weak. You could probably take that 201 and get our friend Aaron Jones, and just plop him in there and not have to really worry.
It always comes back to Aaron Jones.
Either that or Breeze.
Yeah, true. All right, let's okay.
See, I get lost in this chat bot thing. I need to get used to it. Yeah, I know.
Are you able to? Well, we're doing a little live Q&A here. Are you able to pull them up, or did I?
I am. I have it pulled up. Okay. I have it pulled up.
Okay, you're good because I don't mind running ship. Hey, that's what I'm maybe in the future going to get paid for, right? So let's
we got to get the super chats on.
All right, Pearson 88 needs some advice being offered Rashee Rice in the 103 and 110 for the 101, 203, and 206. I definitely 103 and 110.
Najee and Henry. Let's hit the 103. The 103 is probably like Tet. It's probably like Tet. You're probably not going to want to take like a Travion Henderson or something.
Rice in the 103 over the 101. Is that where you're at? Man, I do like Rashee Rice. I like this Rice deal a lot more than the other one,
I think I probably would end up taking it with the assumption that if I really need a running back, I can move the 103. I can move the 110. I lock in a difference-making wide receiver, even if he's suspended 4 games. To me, I probably would take that. It's hard to move off the 101 though.
Yeah, and I will say too. I mean, I just spent like 20 minutes talking about how much I love Genty. I will say that the way I build my rosters is definitely these types of moves where when I have these like high value running backs, and I know I'm juicing up Breeze, but it's mainly because of where he's at right now, where he is like easily obtainable across leagues. But it's so much easier to build your dynasty rosters, even though people love receivers. It's just so much easier to backfill the running back position with production than it is to backfill with wide receiver production. Because I mean, even you talk about, I mean, even guys that we like a lot. I mean, go try to buy Devontae Adams from somebody right now. Like, yes, he's like, we could talk about he's a screaming buy, love him, he's going to smash like this season for sure. But go to the Devontae Adams guy who just put him on the sleeper trade block and say, hey man, what are you looking for Devontae Adams? And like, let me know what the response is. And then go find the Aaron Jones guy and see that it's like 20 picks of difference between those two.
No, yeah. I mean, that's a great point. And that's something too, is like you can kind of ride with a bunch of gross running backs for a little bit and be okay. Because usually one will have some sort of starting job, but you don't want to run with those gross wide receivers. So if you have a locked in wide receiver that's going to have a certain number of, of targets each week, I'm much better, feeling much better than that than like riding out Jaden Reed, even though like people like him.
Mm-hmm. Same league as before. You moved Caleb. Oh, so this is the one that was the Caleb for
Jordan
26
in the
first.
6th. Yeah.
Here we got Penix, Pearsall in the 301, or the 102, 207, and the 310.
Thanks, Pearsall 301.
Ooh, if I don't, it's just. I mean, we can kind of player take Pearsall a little bit, but if your QB position's locked up, I don't mind moving off of guys like Penix for these types of deals.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. And by that you mean the B side. Take the picks. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because I think there's a little bit too much projection you have to do with Penix and Pearsall, even though you obviously like the situation for Ricky Pearsall coming into the season with no Debo and this Ayuk talk about maybe he's getting moved, but when I have to do too much projection on that side, I mean you just have the 102. Even if that's not Hampton right now, like you don't lock it in. I think you just it's just way more flexible than trying to move Penix and Pearsall.
No, I agree. I mean, I think even if you don't want like a Hampton, even if you're like, ooh, I want Ward or someone else, or I just need a quarterback, having the 102, that's going to have a much bigger market than a Penix, where some people would be like, he's old, he's injured, and a Pearsall who did literally get shot.
Yeah, all right. That one was a reasonable player got shot thing for you to bring up for sure.
Yeah.
And two, I'll just say before we move on here, the 102. I mean, man, we just talk about. I think you spend so much time in the offseason like playing out mock draft landing spots, expecting where players are gonna go. Man, what if we show up to the draft, Genty goes 6, and Tech gets dream landing spot in the top 10 or something? Like, I don't even necessarily think
the Carolina Panthers,
right? For the nice young renaissance to continue. But even if that doesn't happen, it's hard to believe that the 102 player. I mean, Cam Ward, like Penix and Pearsall for Cam Ward being the worst case scenario is not like an insane trade, and you're getting the 207 and the 310. Even though I wouldn't do that, obviously, but yeah, I just think a lot more flexibility. All right, 105.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And Ayuk for the 102.
I think there's a significant teardrop right now after the 102. I don't feel like this is a trade I have to make right now because you are giving up the value. And without the format, it's a little hard to know for certain. But if it's just anything like start 9 or less, give me the upside of a first round running back most likely.
Yeah, and I think come draft time too, especially when we talk about these tiers and how we think the draft might play out. If I don't even want to take Hampton, or I just think it gives you more flexibility to, maybe you go from the 102 back to the 108 or the 109, and you can get a receiver you feel better about than Brandon Ayuk.
No, absolutely. I think it's definitely the power place. Like it's kind of like last year we had the top 2 were in their own tier, and then 3 and 4 were their own tier. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Thank you, Nick Take Jake, for the sub. Thanks for the answer, guys. Just subscribe. Appreciate it. Guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I was looking the stats. I didn't put it in the video. I'm starting to do the video editing. I couldn't find a place to put it. You know how they throw up the not subscribed? The ratio is staggering, guys. It is staggering of the non-subscribes. It's literally like no negativity, nothing bad for you, only good for us.
Put them on blast. First stream. Put the chat on blast.
I'd pay that for what's up? K Sky here. I'd pay that for JJM. Be able to get a first for JJM eventually, if not now. Always looking to turn 2 seconds into a first. I like that. This is the I think this is the 203. This was the B trade. It was the B trade. Yep, 201 and the 203 for JJ. I also liked that one alongside the JD5 and the 101 for May, and then that 410. But I tend to agree. I think hard for me to believe that a healthy JJ McCarthy. We did get to see that preseason game, and leave it to Will to hype up a preseason game. But, man, we've seen Josh Dobbs do it. We've seen Nick freaking Mullins do it. You're telling me J.J. McCarthy, with the draft capital that Viking staff believed in, can't?
What cohort? What? Why are you comparing him to Dobbs and the...
No, I'm just saying we've
Nick
seen
Mullins.
We've seen Nick Mullins do it. We've seen... I know you guys were sending late seconds for Josh Dobbs in that playoff run. Yeah. Expose yourself in the chats.
I do think it's a fair value, I would say. It's something if I was like, I need a quarterback and the market's very, very dry. Yeah, I'm certainly taking that. I am a little hesitant if they do sign someone like an Aaron Rodgers or something like that. I do think if you're giving
it, man.
Aaron Rodgers and his darkness retreats and all that stuff is not going to be a backup quarterback. Like he's like a Cam Newton. He's like a Cam Newton. He's as a Cam Newton diehard fan, when you got a big ego, you're not the QB2. You're just you fade out. You're never a QB2. And if they bring in an Aaron Rodgers, it's because they said you're going to be the starter.
Yeah, I think that's probably a due diligence thing of Rodgers was like, hey, that'd be kind of sick to do what Sam Darnold did last season for that team. And I think the Vikings are probably like, and like I said before, if there's something we don't know, and it's like JJ McCarthy, well, it was swelling up a little bit after a recent workout, not sure what he's going to look like for the season. If that stuff starts to come out, but man, if I'm just not buying it.
I could see them doing kind of like a Jordan Love type thing too, where it's kind of like sits on the bench for multiple years, like injured his rookie year. He came in, I think he was 21. So like, I mean, it's not like this dude's going to be pushing, like a crazy age cliff. So if they're like, hey, we had a team that went really far with, Sam Darnold, which like is insane.
Yeah.
If we actually think about what Sam Darnold did before, you put in Aaron Rodgers there, just, kind of have a bridge quarterback. It's not like Aaron Rodgers has multiple years left. So I just am hesitant that JJ McCarthy is going to get a massive workload. Like if you need a quarterback, he's not someone that I'm like, okay, I can lock him in.
Ooh, I've got the blinder set for any Jeremys, especially when there's a not me in front of it. We've got Kellen here, not me, Jeremy.
Okay.
Two oversigns. Hampton still 101 is still the only. He didn't put in all caps, but I did when I was speaking.
Okay, yeah.
Pick in the draft. IMO ! If they're close to equal, why are we still waiting on the Hampton draft capital landing spot? This is definitely not how we wrote it, but it's how I'm choosing to interpret the message.
Yeah. No, I mean, I appreciate it. I need some pushback. I need someone to take some shots at me here, and getting called out is always nice. But with the landing spot, it's more of saying like I'm not a professional scout. So if he slides to like the second or something, then I'm like, wait a minute, like the NFL teams are seeing something that I'm not, and that's how I see it. It's not that I don't think he is. Like in a vacuum, I would take him. Obviously, I think he's amazing, but I trust other people's opinions more than mine when it comes to actually evaluating talent and things like that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if he slips to a point where like Travion Henderson goes over him, I'll be like, that's kind of weird. Like maybe I need to reevaluate my process and kind of how I evaluated him.
Yeah. I don't hate that. I do think, I mean, if you're just talking pure, we're talking about Genty versus Hampton. I know Genty didn't have the greatest pass catching season this last year. It was kind of a shift in the offensive philosophy. He caught a ton more passes 2 seasons ago. I think
2 seasons ago he had a lot.
Yeah, I think overall upside as like, oh my gosh, this guy's literally CMC. I think you just have to go Genty. But I think it would not surprise me at all if we're talking about these guys like Bijan and Gibbs.
And all I'm saying, Bijan and Gibbs is a perfect example where there's that tier break, even though they're both first round. Marv and Neighbors last year, or Caleb and JD5, where it's like people kind of like to think about tiers, but I'm like, what's really the difference between some of these players? I'm like, if Hampton goes out and crushes it, everyone's gonna be like, what in what world? Like, why wouldn't I trade back? So that's kind of my process. Is like I'd rather take that bet because if I can bank on a Hampton and then pick up something else in the future because someone's a diehard Ginty fan, that's gonna really raise my team up.
Okay, I'm clicking off this one, but I'm gonna put you on the spot. You didn't bring me in to make things easy. I'm here to make things hard. What trade are you doing? What is the farthest you would move back from the 101 to the 102 with an additional first on top, if that makes sense? So you're moving back from the 101 to the 102. What's the farthest first you would accept to make that move?
Oh, so we're keeping like 25?
Yeah, just 25. Just because it's a little more familiar with the class and your expectations. I know we don't have the draft capital and everything.
If the league is like a 12, start 8 or a start 9, I don't care.
Start 10.
But yeah, I mean, if we kind of like start 10, start 11, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think
small 10 and premium.
I think if it's like honestly like the 109, I mean, honestly, it's almost any. If I get a 2 first to move back 1 spot, like I don't think there's a first. Like I'd rather have the flexibility, because if I get lucky,
he used the cop out word, guys. He said flexibility.
I know that's how you know I'm trying to weasel my way out of this.
We got to do flexibility a counter on the stream.
A counter, your little counter. Yeah, I'll have to pull up a thesaurus next to me. But I mean, honestly, it's like if I can get a player that literally produces 90% of what Ginty does, and then I get a first on top of it, like that's free value.
All right, you gotta add more exclamation points to your pushback on KSky. You can't let him come in here and talk to you like that. No, that was good. That was good. I like hearing that, because those are conversations you need to have, because these moves you're able to make these moves. I think you can get way more than the 109 to move back from the 101 to the 102 right now.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
I think you could probably get. I think outside of that top 4, I think you move. I could see. I mean, I haven't seen any deals specifically. I would not be surprised at all if we are seeing moves like 101 to 102 and you get like 106. Would not surprise me at all, because it's kind of outside of the Tat running back range.
Yeah,
people are like I don't
Cam
really like
Ward.
Shador. Yeah, so I could easily see that happening.
I do think there's a big drop off from 2 to 3. I do feel like once you get to, the Tet, Cam Ward, like Travion Henderson, like to me those players aren't as exciting as like, especially if we get 2 first round. RBs, I'm just gonna. To me, they're basically the same. I can squint, and they're probably gonna fill the same role on my roster.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got a 12 by 10. Got offered Chase Brown, the 109, the 110, and a 26 second for Marvin Harrison Jr., Aaron Jones, and a 26 first. He's got a stacked wide receiver room, but he doesn't want to sell low on Marv. Ooh. Chase Brown. You think the Bengals?
I think you're right not moving off of that package.
Yeah.
Because to me, like
Marv is just gonna give you weeks where you're able to move off of him.
But like, would you take
right now?
Would you take the 109 or a 26 first?
26 first.
Right. So like the 109, 110, and a second aren't as valuable as you could probably say a 26 second for Aaron Jones.
Yeah, if we can
right, like
out.
But like Chase Brown plus a first for Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know. I mean, I don't think the value is technically unfair, but the way I see it is your side, the Harrison side, you have the better pieces.
I know. Let's just for me, let's not act like Marv is like in the, Xavier worthy, like maybe he's going to be like a good receiver tier right now. Like he's got like the JSN pump name value still. It's just not the CD Lamb that we thought he was going to have heading into the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think too with like Marv, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm not moving off of him, but to me, this is like you kind of have like you have a full meal, and instead you're like, do I just only want to order appetizers? And it's like, no, like I need a full meal, because you're getting a bunch of smaller pieces here.
Yeah, and I see the stacked wide receiver room, which like makes me want to really reconsider moving off of one of these pieces. Because when you have these stacked receiver rooms, I'm a little bit more willing to make these kind of deals. But for me, it's adding in that 26 first. And then you got that 109 and the 110, and you're adding Chase Brown to your running back room. You have a stacked wide receiver room. What are those picks really going to look like while you're giving up the 26 first that you can do something else with alongside Marv?
Yeah, I'd be trying to get trying to tier up a little bit higher than like a Chase Brown and a couple late first.
Right. Don't sleep on the Panthers.
Let's go, Jake.
They pay me to make comments like that. Jake had said earlier. I don't know if you saw it. He said we got to get you to Panthers game.
Yes, I think he reached out to me, so we've been talking.
There you go, Jake. You got any Detroit Lions connections? Let's get Will to a Lions game. Ooh, Raiders.
Maybe they play each other
for Tet. What do you think about that?
I'm honestly
I like Jacoby and Brock Bowers.
I'm very biased about Jacoby, but I mean, if I was the Panthers, I wouldn't take Tet.
Yeah,
with a top 10, like a top 10 pick with your defense that like literally is like paper mache. Like, give me any guy that can stop, any guy that can stop the run or stop a pass, do anything that like I just need that. Like, Tet is good, but he's not even a Drake London type prospect. Like, we hope he's Drake London. So, I don't want to take him if I had the 8th overall pick. That doesn't seem smart.
This is the Chase Brown deal. Wide receivers in a 12 by 10. Amon-Ra, BTJ, Nico, Marv, and Ayuk. My guy.
I think I would be doing. I don't know.
You get yourself crusty. This is the perfect team to just be getting yourself crusty running backs and just churn them out year over year. Do not split up the value. Like,
don't move away from Aaron Jones.
You've got Aaron. You've got it. Like, yes, I mean, obviously Chase Brown. Like, I think you're allowed one deal a season, but not a deal where you're like really forfeiting flexibility to get a guy like Chase Brown. So like later in the season, 26 first for a guy like Chase Brown who's smashing and you like have potential for future seasons. Love that. Like last season, Chase Brown was smashing, send a 26 first, totally fine with that. But these kind of deals where like you're kind of talking yourself into it, you're like, I'm getting the 109 and the 110. It's like those could be good players. I like that a little bit. It's just you just do not need to do that with this team.
And two, like what happens? You make that trade, and then NFL draft comes around, 3rd round pick. Bengals select, Caleb Johnson or whatever, and then you're like, well, like crap. Like now he goes from a locked in 20 touches per game to like 12.
Yeah, and I the thing is too, especially the running back position, especially with guys like Chase Brown. I mean, Chase Brown legitimately was great last season, but teams don't want to give guys like Chase Brown 25 touches a game. They don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But they just weren't going to turn around and be like, well, we got Khalil Herbert in the building. Like, he's going to take half of his workload. But heading into the season, I mean, the Bengals are all for, we love Chase Brown. What if we got a guy who was just like Chase Brown and we could give him, 35%, 40% of the work? Like, teams want to do that.
I get scared too with teams that only have one guy. Because like you said, even if you like unless if you're like Sean McVay, like if you only have one guy, you're not going to want to drive him to the ground most likely. I mean, they brought in Zach Moss last year. They weren't saying we're all in on, Chase Brown. Yeah. I imagine they're going to probably take a shot at one of these running backs.
Zach Mosses there are in this class?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more Zach Moss plus players in this class.
All right, K Scott's back here. He's no exclamation points in this one. He seems like he's calmed down a little bit. I know Scott. I'm in a league with Scott. I'm gonna mess with him. On a rebuilder with the 101, the 103, and the 104. Would you pay the 103 plus for Garrett Wilson? I think I need to. I want to know how many teams we're looking like in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he hit you with a logical response. Thanks, Jeremy. So you guys are definitely on good terms here.
That sounds good.
But yeah, the 103 plus for Garrett Wilson, man. Do you just? I am all down for buying Garrett Wilson right now, but I don't know if I want to do it like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to do. Garrett Wilson's just not the most exciting player for me right now. Like, I feel like it's kind of like a Marv type where I feel like I'm paying for the name.
Yeah.
In a way. So that's kind of hard for me.
I mean, I think
especially a plus on top.
The rebuilder makes it interesting because I almost just want to like talk about buying AJ Brown for cheaper than a Garrett Wilson, or like guys like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm doing this. I'd be curious. I mean, you say on a rebuilder, and for me on a rebuilder. So I think the thought process is probably this is the perfect time to buy Garrett Wilson. I don't really care if, let's say next season looks bad. I believe in him as a, CD level talent. If I'm not going to get CD level production for this season, it might take you a couple of years for the Jets to figure out the quarterback position. But I don't hate buying Garrett Wilson right now. Would love to do. I mean, you talk about the tiers. I would definitely start with the 104. I mean,
I think a 103 or a 104 straight up should be able to get it done. Like, I don't think I need to have much more of a plus, especially with Fields. Like, it's not like you're going to have like a super efficient passing offense there.
All right, what's your dream landing spot for Tet?
For Tet,
I think it just has to be draft capital focused, just because.
I think I've seen him to like the Saints, which I feel like would be a pretty solid spot, especially with like Olave's health. I feel like that's an offense that could actually use somebody like that.
The unrealistic dream is probably New England at 4. That's just not going to happen. But
yeah, the issues are too high.
That's the dream.
Maybe they trade back. Yeah. Like if they could trade back, then I'd be a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe you get to like, I don't even know what the mid rounds look like. I could pull that up real. It's an NFL mock database. I don't even know like what those later picks. Like maybe Miami, or like I think honestly Denver. That would be a good one.
Yeah, you got the
because at 17, like if they pick them there, I feel like that's a perfect offense that can invest in a wide receiver and already kind of has a lot of the big pieces figured out. They have a solid defense. They have a solid quarterback. They might go running back, but I do think that's a solid option there.
And the Joker face paint AI art would go crazy on Tet.
Is that his nickname? Is it like the Joker?
No, I keep making the Joker references because that's what the Sean Payton stuff is always, that he's looking for his Joker. This is all the way back to when Greg Dulcich was supposed to be the Joker 2 seasons ago.
I guess I didn't know if it was like a Denver Nuggets thing, get Nikola Jokic.
Okay, no, that probably makes more sense than what I keep referencing. But all right, Aaron, we got Devonta Smith plus what gets you the 102. Or Devonta Smith for 103 for cheaper. Same manager as the 102 and 103 locks up Tet or Hampton. So just trying to get off Devonta Smith. I mean, I definitely would be trying to hit the 102. I think these Devonta Smith tier receivers, I like these guys, and I don't mind having them on my roster, but I think they're the perfect types of players to use as kind of tier ups. Now, I don't think it necessarily needs to be for a Hampton. And
I'd be more inclined to do the 102.
Yeah,
like
I think it's you have to do too much projecting. I feel like if you're locking yourself into Tet, I like Tet, but I know a lot of people have are not.
I mean, what's the
huge
difference
fan.
between Smith and Tet from like a pure fantasy football points?
Yeah,
like
and two, what happens? I mean, would anyone be surprised if the end of 1 year from now we're doing this live stream and we're talking about, man, remember when these pre-rookie drafts people were taking Tet and Matthew Golden was way better than him that you got at the 109. Like, I'm not saying that's likely, but I think it's definitely possible. So I wouldn't kind of chain yourself to locking yourself into a Tet and go into the 103 if you like are trying to kind of tier up. If it makes sense for you to go for a Hampton, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think with like if you wanted to get up to like the 102, you probably need like a near late first in value, probably like around that type of range. Because I do think Devonta Smith is kind of like that perfect youngish wide receiver too. You'll feel confident if you have to start him each week. He's not someone you're like, oh my god, he's going to save my team. I'm down 30 points on a Monday night and I need them to go off. But he's somebody that is decent enough that you feel confident starting.
We did a pretty good job getting through these chats. So Aaron, let me know what who else is on the team that you're trying to trade up for, because I assume your mindset in trying to get the 103 potentially for cheaper is if you trade up for the 102, this guy knows you're going to Hampton, and in his mind he's like, well, now I just traded for Devonta Smith and I'm going to have to take Tet McMillan here at the 103. If that's what your mindset is, I'd be curious to know what the roster looks like for that, if you think it's going to be much harder to get up to the 102.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely come back to that.
Do you have the couple from
yes.
pre-stream? We should probably hit those.
Definitely, yeah. And shout out, we got a ton in the chat. Thank you guys so much. This is definitely
this was surprising.
Yeah,
I was nervous we'd be like, I'd be like, oh, I hope we get some people in chat, but this has been great.
Definitely. I believe this one was from, you said when you posted on the YouTube, this one was one of them, and this was I believe it was.
Let's see. Is it the one I sent you in Discord?
This was Larry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Larry
Gates. I know you're in the chat as well. Appreciate it. But we got we actually did hit this one. So this was a little more context on I think you shared Jaden Daniels, Anthony Richardson, Gino. So we did hit this one.
Okay, we did hit this one. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, good call. I've got another one from the Discord. I think this one actually was Scott, and this is a huge one. Wait, I have a question. Rebecca, please don't forget me in the chat.
Yes.
All right. Well, I've got my finger on the trigger to hit whatever the next message is on that one. So don't worry. I'm ready.
We'll have to see what the question is.
Hasn't forgotten you in the chat. All right, picks here. This one is a big one. Picks in JD5. Oh, it's a little funky. All right, all right, this is a huge one.
Where was this one then? Was this in the Discord?
This was in the Discord. Shout out to this one was Scott as well. Scott, who's been in the chat. So this is a huge one. This is coming out of a rebuild. I remember this context. So this is 12 by 10 super flex. It is a 1 point tight end premium, 6 point passing touchdown, -1 for interceptions. The trade is the 102, the 105, the 111, and a 26 first, who was the runner up this last season for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. Ooh.
And this is extra interesting, especially with your Amarian Hampton love. So right here, the quarterback room would be Jaden Daniels, but has Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy. The running back room is atrocious. Corum and backups. The wide receiver room, Xavier Worthy, Chris Godwin, Josh Downs, Pop Douglas, does have Brock Bowers in the 1 point tight end premium. Here's the interesting part, which I think makes this trade make more sense. Look at these firsts in 2026. 2 firsts, 3 seconds, and then 2027 has 2 firsts and a second. So it does make it a little bit easier to mouth trading all this for JD5. But are you doing it with this roster with that quarterback room?
I I'm a little. I guess he'd still have 4 picks post trade, right?
Mhm.
After shipping away
Yes.
4 picks.
What if this was Josh Allen? Are you doing this in a heartbeat?
That's the thing is, I'm like Daniels is in the Josh Allen tier, and if I'm in a rebuild, I'm
Yeah.
like, you kind of have to take it, especially with 2025. Like running backs aren't going to be as important, even though like you could use a Hampton. I'm not going to lose sleep over missing the 111 or the 105, and then like a 26 first again. Like, is that going to solve my elite quarterback
Mhm.
situation? I don't know.
And look at
I
these
assume
seconds.
I can.
3 seconds in 2026. Those are running backs right there. That's your running back room.
Yeah, I mean that's like midseason. You're 3-1. You're like, oh, let me just buy an Aaron Jones or buy Ramondre Stevenson and just say, hey, like I need somebody to show up.
Mhm.
Because I mean that's kind of the issue here is like if you do keep all those picks, you basically can answer your running back room. You can pick running back at 105. You can pick running back, and at 111 you can pick running back. And then now it's not Blake Corum and nobody. So I think it's kind of a win-win in a way. Like I don't think there's many people aren't going to send away Daniels without getting like an elite level quarterback back. And this is a deal where you don't have to have an elite-ish quarterback to be in the conversation, right? You don't need a Drake May plus stuff. You just have a bunch of random picks. So to me, I mean, I think this is kind of what the price is if you want to get one of those guys. I do think what would you do this for like a Lamar or a Josh Allen?
I mean, I think we talk about Will being a Breeze fan. I have Josh Allen on more. I have paid the piper time again for Josh Allen. Just the difference making quarterback projection and the longevity too. I mean, we can talk about that. I think especially these Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes, kind of an interesting conversation. But these like elite quarterbacks, like always the first 1 through 3 picks of startups for the past couple seasons, you're projecting for the next couple seasons. You just can always get out of the deals that you've made, right? Like, let's say you take Hampton and the 105, you take Shador and he doesn't pan out. The 111 is something, and then the 26 first is the runner-up. That ends up being he won this next season, and you're like, well, crap. I could have traded Hampton and these picks I missed on for Jaden Daniels. And I think too, I think maybe I'm not doing this if the picks looked a little more bare in 2026 and 27, but having 2 firsts to play with in 26 and 27, I'm totally fine making this.
I think that's the thing. Like, and 2, like I think from like a league perspective, like you've been able to acquire 8 first round picks in the next 3 years. So you have 8 first round picks in the next 3 years. You should be able to do it again if you need to. Like meaning that you can buy first round picks. Some leagues you can't. Some leagues it's like I'm in leagues where it's like I don't want to trade my 26 or 27 because I know I'm not like it's the only one that's movable right now. But in a league where you have a ton like this, like to me, like yeah, pay up, get the stud. It's start 11. If it was like start 12, I'd be like honestly, you probably just want to take the picks. But or it's start 10. Give me the stud, and then I have 4 first round picks and a ton of second round picks I can use. And in the first, I'm not really trying to move right now, but like those seconds, I'd be like, okay, cool, I got Daniels. Can I pick up like a James Conner? Can I pick up at least some production to kind of
and thirds,
cover the hole at running back because I don't have my Hampton pick anymore.
Yeah, and Gainey, this is you caught me. It was a long trade. It was a lot easier to plug in Jaden Daniels to his quarterback position and look at the team post trade, and I think it was a little bit smoother to look at than me adding in all those picks alongside all of his picks. So I've been caught. I tried to make it. There's a lot of text already on the screen. All right, so yes, I was just wanted to show what the quarterback team room and the rest of the team looked like after the trade. So great. You caught me, but we'll move off of that. Don't want to miss. Shout out to Rebecca here. Want to impress the coworkers with some fantasy football knowledge? Please help. Thank you. Appreciate that. I didn't watch the combine. I don't know anything. What's like a one-liner to make people think I'm in the know on fantasy? So I get invited. I mean, you could talk about. Here's the real thing. You could talk about people, and I don't want to get too anti believer, but you could talk about Bashal Tutin and the amazing combine he had, but also get a little. But I want to pump the brakes a little bit. Did you know that Tutin had 0 under the center runs at Virginia Tech over the past 2 seasons? He just wasn't the role he was utilized in.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a good stat. That's a good one to just pull out when someone's like, "Ooh, Tootin did really well."
And then if they ask a follow-up question, just be like, but yeah, I don't want to get too into it. It's all politics.
Yeah, no.
Say something like that.
I have a meeting to get to. I got to get out of here.
Yes, thank you. All right.
Let's see.
Greg Roman is gonna use Najee this year. We can quick. Let's quick touch on Najee because I think he's gonna be a popular crusty guy. It's the 1 year deal.
The 1 year crust, yeah.
Yeah, the 1 year crust. I don't think it eliminates the Chargers from taking a running back. But it's hard to believe that Najee just isn't Gus Edwards plus what they wanted Gus Edwards to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just more of a bruiser, and like the health of Dobbins, health of Edwards, just not the answer. I do expect them to probably take someone in the late round picks, but right now, I mean, they have a top 12 or something? It might be not 12. It might be like 18th or something, but they have a mid first pick. I doubt they're going to really try to take a running back because at that range, you're looking at a Hampton. Yeah, and I think at that range, like I've seen them have like Loveland a lot. No, he has the Michigan connection, so I imagine they'll go a different direction. And frankly, it's probably more around just having flexibility of not having to answer running back. They're like, okay, cool. Like if the draft board doesn't fall our way, we still have Najee. We're fine. Like it's a 1 year deal. It's not like a long-term answer, but he'll be good. I mean, that offense loves to run the ball and they have a great offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Love that. All right. Back we got Case Guy here today. What would you pay on top of the 103 for the 102? So you talked about that tier break, and it is kind of interesting to talk about the tier break too, when we're projecting a quarterback to probably go first overall for sure in the first 2-3 picks in Cam Ward.
2 in the top 10 probably.
Yeah. So I know. I mean, quarterback is kind of an interesting position, and I think that there's something to be said about it's so hard to know which of these quarterbacks, one, will hit for the NFL, and 2 will hit for fantasy. I do think Cam Ward has a little bit of like the high end of CJ Stroud's rushing production, where he's not a run first guy, but he kind of has the wheels if the situation opens itself for. So, the Titans is probably what it's looking like. It's probably Titans. What do you think? I mean, it's Titans, Browns, Giants. One of those teams is probably going to have Cam Ward, is what it sounds like. I would lean Titans at this point. But,
yeah, I think it's pretty much Titans from what I've seen. I mean, I imagine like it's coach in his second year. Like if you go in your second year with just Will Levis, and then at the end you still stink, and they're like, wait, why are you still just Will Levis? He's probably getting the boot. So for his job, he's like, I need to get someone that people can buy in and gets me a little bit of a longer leash. And that's kind of where I say like, it's hard. It's hard once you get to the 103. I feel like the 101, 102, you're kind of locked in because both of them are trending towards first round running backs, which historically have one of the best hit rates of any fantasy football production. First round running backs, you're going to take that.
We went through the recent list, and that's not even going back to, like you said, the Saquons and the.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the only real bust you've had was like Trent Richardson back in the day. Like, I mean, you have to go far to have someone that, and even then, like you could still sell him mid-season for something. Right. So like to me, I really, it's hard for me to pick a quarterback over that, but I do think at the 103, 104, 105. It's probably Tet and 2 quarterbacks. Because last year, I'll say this all the time. Last year, everyone's like, oh, Bo Nix sucks. Like, no one likes his profile. He went top 10 in the draft. Sometimes you just need to take off the blinders, take off the bias, and just be like, process tells me I need to take this boring pick. I don't believe in Cam Ward as a prospect. I don't believe in Sanders. Whatever your bias is, he's a top 10 quarterback. I'm going to have to take him regardless. And that's the same with Tet. If Tet gets like top 10 draft capital, it's like, it's not my favorite pick to make, but it's also the process tells me that this pick is right more than it's wrong. I have to take that over being like, let me get cute with it and try to pick, like Travion Henderson, over these guys.
So if you are, Jeremy gets an offer in his inbox and he has the 103 and it's from the guy with the 102. Which pick is he hitting decline on? I guess he is you. Which pick are you hitting decline on? Is it the
for me to jump up?
Yeah, the 103 and the 106. Are you hitting a decline on that to move up to the 102?
I'm probably hitting decline because I feel like 103 to about 107 or so
Okay.
is
So
kind
is
of
it
like the
like the
next
108
tier.
you would like once you start getting into what you project to be maybe those tight ends? It's a 1.5 tight end premium. I wonder if that is
I
actually
don't. It's full
1.5.
PPR. If it's full PPR, I don't care about like the 1.5 tight end premium. But if we're talking like zero point 0.7, like a 1.75 or more,
Mhm.
then I'd be even further. It'd be probably be like the 112. Because to me, I'm like at a certain point, I just want to take as many shots as I can. Because even a first round pick isn't guaranteed, unless if they're literally outside of like the most untouchable. Like even with like a Caleb Williams, he was like untouchable. He still wasn't like this like now everyone's like, okay, like there was better players in the draft. It would have been better for you to trade back. A lot of times it's just like how many of those high end shots can I take on goal? Because eventually one of those is going to go in, even if it's not the best shot available. If I just have enough in the highest range, I'm going that can flip my team around. It's like Brian Thomas Jr. was going at like the 109, 110, or not 110, but the 110. Like you can pick up some crazy value where people are not seeing it.
Yeah. Or just, I mean, worst case, it's a juicy landing spot that people are excited about in the preseason hype and the training camp. And
Yeah,
man,
exactly.
Burton, nobody can touch this man in practice. He is unstoppable.
No, exactly. Like there's a lot of hype that you can, like, it's hard for me to want to really overpay. I probably do like if I'm set at quarterback or at least have one elite guy. If I have like the 103 and the 110, I'd probably send it. I think that's a decent offer. But outside of that, like I'm not going to try to overpay for a speculative piece. We haven't seen him play. We haven't seen his landing spot. There's no pressure on me to make that move right now.
Yeah. Shout out to James. This was 8 minutes ago. Appreciate it. Thank you. I know Rebecca looks like responded. How can you guys review my team? I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, I can speak to that. So usually when you go to dynasty-daddy.com, at the top there's a blue bar. Right now it's red because we're doing this live stream. But usually there's a blue bar and it has a link on there to a Google form where you can fill it out and I'll do a roster review for you. I do need to add it to the description because I've gotten a few questions about that already. So I am going to add it to the descriptions of this video and the future videos as well, so that you don't have to go to Dynasty Daddy. But that is a great place to do it. You can also go on the sidebar. There's the more option, and that if you hover over that, it will expand. And there's an option in there for roster reviews as well.
And there's my email leaked if you guys wanna hit me up. or just send me a message on Discord. I'll answer your questions there. You don't have to email me. Let's see. All right.
Yeah, that's definitely the best place to reach us. I get some emails sometimes and I'm like, oh, I'll get back to it. Then I forget.
All right. So this is a kind of moving back question. So this is the person who was trying to move Devonta Smith for either the 102 or the 103. Aaron. So the guy's team is Mahomes, Caleb, Saquon, Henry, Mixon, CMC, Nash running back room, JJ Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Nico. Wait, he has Devonta? Maybe I'm tripping.
Where are you seeing this? I might not be looking at the right place. Oh, the giant list of all the players.
Yes. Let me.
I think it might have been a previous trade we were talking about.
So it was. I read this as Aaron is trying to move Devonta Smith plus to get the 102.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, the Devonta Smith trade, yeah.
And then this one looks like.
I feel like in this type of league, you're loaded. So it makes me feel like it's a shallow-ish league.
That guy's team is Mahomes.
Because, I mean, he has
Keep the Dynasty.
Barkley, Mixon, Henry, CMC, JJ Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Nico. I mean, honestly, what I'm trying to do here is just, can I take Devonta and pick up some future picks? Can I pick up a 26 in a 27
I
or
remember
something?
this was in the Discord, Aaron. I think I responded to this one. Moving to Superflex in 28, and you sold the 110 Coker and Whittington for CMC and Caleb. CMC could be on the other side of this trade. That's a great move. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's a fleece. I mean, Coker and Whittington,
That's probably a fleece in a 1 QB forever. That's a great
yeah,
trade.
110 for Caleb is like a 1 QB league trade, and then you just get a throw in of McCaffrey.
That's awesome.
That is crazy.
Unless this guy knows, even if this guy is leaving the league in 2027, it's still a fleece.
Yeah, that is a good deal.
All right, we got nice contract is not 9.5, it's 5. Yeah, I think the 9.5 is with incentives. So if you go to Spock Track, it's a maximum of 9.5, and it's like 5 guaranteed with up to 9.5 with like some incentive stuff. Backup Escamani. Yeah, I think the Najee deal definitely was not what I was expecting him to get. So I do think, like we talked about, there's definitely a chance they add running back, or they just kind of do what they did this last season, right? And it was just like Dobbins, Gus, Nasty, and they're like, hey, we're just gonna give Najee a ton of carries.
They still got Vidal.
Yeah,
all the truthers out there.
Lost Bosa. Yeah,
that's true. They did lose Bosa.
Could go tight end. Please don't for my Will Disley, my beautiful man.
You got the funniest like bottom of the barrel guys. You're like Ty Chandler.
It's just the guys.
Will
that, like,
Disley.
It's the players that hit so hard for me when I needed them the most, and Will Disley was one of those guys last season.
Yeah, now you're like
crusty tight end guy.
That's me with like Jonnu. It's been multiple times where I'm like, okay, can I trust Jonnu? And then he just rips it off for me.
Nate, right now the tier break is 102, 103, but then we move up to 104, 105 as landing spots get decided. Yeah, I mean, obviously we've seen so many shifts. If you just think about, if we look back to, the last couple seasons, what pre-draft looks like versus, the JSN, Addison, QJ year when everyone was like JSN's gonna go. This is, value right now is you have to kind of shift your mindset to where players were expected to go, where players' value was at certain points. But I remember JSN was like, he's going to the Packers, he's going to be top 10 pick. Yeah. So obviously we'll see huge shifts, but I agree. I think right now, if you can get up to that 102,
there's no need to draw the line in the sand yet, especially going from the 103 to 102, I'm not going to pay a crazy price to do that because, like you said, draft can happen, and then all of a sudden, Matthew Golden's a top 12 wide receiver in the NFL draft, and everyone's like, hold on, maybe we need to reevaluate things. There's a lot that can happen that can really shift the tiers. Or we get 3 first-round running backs. That would be crazy.
107 or Laporta in a 2-point tight end reception. I think this is. I'm a Lions fan here. I'm taking Laporta.
He came on towards the end of the year. I'll probably take Laporta.
I think there was some injury stuff too, and the 107 too in a 2-point tight end premium. You're probably looking at. The 107 is. So what do you got? You got the 2 running backs. Let's say you get the 2 quarterbacks. Let's say you get Tat. You're already at the 105 there.
Warren is probably out.
Warren gets a money landing spot. You're probably looking at a Loveland versus Laporta at that point, and I think you're just doing a little bit. I think it's fairly fair. I'd probably still lean the Laporta side. But I think you just have to you're anticipating a good landing spot for Laporta or for Loveland. I know we've had a couple, we've had the Bowers years. We had the year with, Laporta, Mayer, and Kincaid early seconds. It's not super common that we get multiple tight ends in the first round. I think we probably do see Tyler Warren. I think he is that kind of player. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Loveland falls a little bit, even though I do like him. I think maybe I think the projection is kind of like tail end of the first round for.
Yeah, I think I've seen him a lot for the Chargers, which I think is 22, like we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with their process, though. I think you could honestly see both tight ends off the board, and it's like, honestly, I probably just take the Laporta and just assume that I'm not getting better value there, and figure that his rookie season he'll kind of return more to the rookie season or late last year where he started turning it up a little bit more. And two, that offense is going to look a little bit different without Ben Johnson, so there could be a different way targets are kind of funneled through that offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's super flex. I think it's pretty fair. I think that's probably fair value for Laporta in a 2-point tight end reception league. Just because you are probably locking yourself into either a quarterback who you probably would still value close to a Laporta. You you're outside of that early running back range. You're getting to the second and third receivers alongside both of the tight ends. So I think it's fair. Like I think this is probably like a difficult conversation. I don't think it's as quick as my Lions sweatshirt fan would say. And maybe I'm getting a little copium of, I think a good but overvalued to what his value was rookie season for Laporta, which was then followed up with, I think, playing through some injury stuff. But I think we saw some games that I think you would be lucky to get from, the second tight end taken in the 2025 NFL draft.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think I'd probably take Laporta over Warren and Loveland. So to me, I just trust the guy that's done it for at least 2 years. And even though he had some bad, a little bit of a bad stretch, I'm not betting against that.
Mm-hmm. GG boys, excellent stream. Appreciate you guys hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
This is gone, and you know what it is? It's just the love of just yapping about Dynasty in my heart that I look over to the left and see that we're at 10:50 p.m. I know we're kind of getting to the end of the questions. I don't know where you're at. I'm down to knock out these last ones.
Yeah, we can knock out these last ones and then call it. But I mean, I've been it's been very positive to have people engaging in comments and things like that. So I don't mind going long. It's been a fun experience.
For sure. All right, we got right here, Drake London or Trey McBride plus a late second. It is a non-tight end premium, so just a PPR league. McBride and a late second or Drake London. This is an interesting one.
I'm going McBride in a second. Give me the package, and I have one of the few difference makers in a non-tight end premium league.
Yeah.
Like, there's very few tight ends I feel like are going to have that production, but McBride last year was absolutely eating it up.
Yeah. No, I don't hate that one. I think it's I do like London, and I mean we saw some really good games with Penix at the end of last season, but I think you could argue you're getting pretty similar production at a premium position, even if it's not a tight end premium. Now, I'm not doing these kind of moves for the next tier. So we just talked about Laporta.
Absolutely.
I would not be looking to do this for like, I still get a top 4 tight end because I have Laporta. No.
Yeah, like, give me Njoku.
Yeah.
Like, there's few, is Bowers, McBride, and maybe Laporta. Like, but those are the only guys that enter the conversation here.
All right, 12 by 10, 4-point passing. What are you doing with Fields? Oh man, this is not the question.
I love that.
10:50 p.m.
Well, I guess we got another 10 minutes to go with this Fields question.
Yeah. Fields for the 112. Are you doing that in a 12 by 10, 4-point passing?
Okay, so here's my theory about Fields. I think Fields can be a difference maker. I don't think Fields is someone I want to invest in long term. So if I pull up Dynasty Daddy and my team is top 1 or 2 as a contender, then I feel confident locking in Fields as like my QB2, QB3. And if he does hit on a elite rushing upside quarterback, that's probably going to be a QB1 at least in some of that range. It's a war difference maker for relatively cheap. If I'm that middle of the pack team, this is it. This is the only sell window you can really have left. I'm probably just going to take it and run, because I remember last year I had some Field shares and I traded him for a 27 first. I thought I was a genius. I was like, I don't know how I got off this dude. And there's still another chance to get off of him. So unless if you literally are like trying to find a QB2 that can give you elite production on an elite roster, and you're like, okay, this 112 isn't going to help me. Sure. Ride it out with Fields. I get that, because Fields is one of the few rushing upside quarterbacks.
He's going to smash. Like there's
he's going to smash, and so I'm okay with that. Like riding as my QB2, but if my team is anywhere in the middle, like from like 4 to 12, get me off the ride. Let me just bank the guaranteed value, and I can go rest easy.
Yeah, I think it would have to be a very specific team. It probably would have to be a shallower league, where these draft picks, these late first, early seconds, they're not even impacting my team. Like in a 12 by 9, I'm probably looking at my team if I need the second quarterback. And it's like, man, my running back room is loaded. Wide receivers are loaded. What am I even going to do with these early seconds other than try to pivot later for more flexibility in the future? I could see myself doing it, but man, look into the crystal ball right now. I want you to transport yourself to, 2027 or let's do the end of next season. Are the Jets in the playoffs? Are the Justin Fields led Jets in the playoffs? I just, it's hard to see that in that division with the Bills. Just in how the Jets, I think I do like Aaron Glenn, and I think the culture will be turned around this season. I could see that for sure. But I think you're kind of betting on he would need to play really well this season. They then would need to be successful in the following season for him to even remotely have a chance of being any kind of long-term thing. And I just think from what I've seen from Fields, if you guys watch any of the QB school stuff, there is just quarterbacks where, especially when you look against other quarterbacks who Fields he just doesn't see and feel the game like starting quarterbacks in the NFL see and feel the game. He is an amazing athlete, and Aaron Glenn wanted to get Justin Fields because as a Lions fan, you watch the interviews with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn talking about Justin Fields. They're terrified of that man. He rushes for 100 yards every time he plays the Lions. But the answer is no. The Jets still suck. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I think a very specific team. If you are totally fine and comfortable with, hey, I am lighting this pick on fire because I am using it for Justin Fields for the next season and a half, 2 seasons. Like, if you're fine doing that, I'll go for it because he is going to smash for sure. Like, we've just seen it when he has the opportunity. He runs. They're going to let him run free. It's not going to be a weird Steelers situation where, he's not asked to do that as much. There's going to be opportunity, but yeah,
I agree. Yeah. I agree completely.
Sweet. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the great streams to make it weekly. This will be a weekly stream, a reminder. We'll probably in the future. I know next week, planning on doing it. I don't believe I'll be able to be here. I am planning on being a part of the weekly streams, but Jeremy will be here to answer questions, potentially having guests on in the future. It's I've got a 3-pronged overlay that I made. Maybe we'll whip that out sometime. Yeah. So yeah, definitely this is the expectation. Your Tuesday nights. You don't need to. You can rewatch this back if you're not able to make it. But Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the Dynasty Daddy YouTube channel is live, answering your Dynasty questions, yapping about the Bryce Young renaissance, and buying low on. It's
going to happen. And Breece Hall and Aaron Jones. And
appreciate you guys. We have to tune in weekly. If I'm going to join my Coworkers League, they'll be gagged with my fantasy knowledge. Yes, for sure. All right, well, I appreciate it. I'll let Jeremy do the actual heartfelt outro, but I am excited to be a part of the Dynasty Daddy community, being a part of these live streams. I'm really excited for these weekly live streams and the future of the channel. There's going to be, obviously the weekly videos, but I think there's going to be a lot more. So definitely subscribe if you haven't.
Will, you're putting the work in right now, and I respect that. And I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. This is Will's first rodeo on the channel, so I think it was a screaming success. And it was great to have just a bunch of people asking trades and all that. So it was awesome. And we're definitely going to do it weekly. Hope to bring you more content. Maybe eventually get Will doing his own thing on the channel as well. So yeah, definitely stay tuned. Tell us what you guys want to see as well. And I also got more things coming for the site, of course. That's one of the reasons we brought Will on, so he can help lighten the load of this and help me stay focused on what I need to be doing. So absolutely. We'll see y'all next week.
And we'll see you in the Discord. Link in the description.
Yeah,
Peace
Discord.
Out. Have a great
Peace.
night, guys. We'll see you next week.